watching the Jennylyn Show, and I am Jennylyn Gleave, your host. And today, my guest has traveled all the way from New York. She is a friend, my girlfriend Goddess, who is also a CNN makeup artist, and I could not let her leave my house without telling you about her wonderful outfits, what motivates them, and where she gets the courage to leave her home dressed in them. Not because anything is wrong with them, except that they're very different from the way most of us dress. So, Goddess?
Hello.
Thank you for coming on the Jennylyn Show.
Thank you, girl.
And you're looking gorgeous as always.
Thank you, sugar.
So tell us, when did you start with your own style, expressing yourself exactly the way you feel comfortable and motivated on a given day?
That started in high school, and because I grew up in upstate New York, I was in Jamaica, Queens, and upstate New York. The high school period was in upstate New York, the country, the boonies. There wasn't too many things to express yourself with, so that's where my invention and different looks came in. You know, take a little tie, put it around your wrist. Just different things. I had to come up with stuff, you know, because you didn't have more inventive things like they do in New York City. So that's what I did. I moved down to the city when I was 18. And then, of course, that was a big Madonna era. So you got to express yourself big time then. And it was the club kid era, too. So we would take hours in getting ready and getting dressed. But I always like to express myself through I like to call it expressive wear, or just eclectic, or just wearable art. That's what I like to do. Something different and unique that I like. It doesn't have, I don't wear things to grab people's attention. It has to grab my attention. So.
Well, we have that in common.
Yes.
Because it's usually I dress for myself.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should.
Yeah, they should.
Unless you have an occasion that requires that you're attired a certain way.
But I run into many people and women, especially women, that say, I wish I had your guts. I wish I had your nerve to dress, you know, how I really want to dress. And I always tell them, just go ahead and do it. I don't understand why. You know, you only live once. Life is short. I know it's an old cliche, but it's true. You know, don't worry about what your husband's going to say, what your kid's going to say, what your parents are going to worry about. Your friends. You know, people worry so much about that. What are people going to talk? Well, give them something to talk about, honey.
Let
them talk.
I think it's
they're
really
talk,
great.
They're going to talk. So let them do it. So that's it. Just, you know, please yourself. You can't please everybody, you know.
I am so inspired by your guts. I mean, I am someone who worries a lot about what people say and about being accepted, because we're living in a world with people and we all want to blend in. Well, most of us do.
Yeah, most people
in a lot of ways, I don't blend in, and I've lived with the consequences. There've been both, you know. But on some levels, I feel like I have enough self-esteem that I'm just myself.
Yeah.
And so I want you to tell me, first of all, share a lot with us, but specifically your rings. And I don't know if Brian can focus in and get your hand. And so what I want to address with this is you are a makeup artist, and you've done makeup on Broadway prior to your job at CNN. What's the reaction to, like, for example, you make up the guest and the staff at CNN.
Yes.
And you did the same on Broadway.
Yeah.
What does someone think when they come and sit in the chair and then you come walking up as the person who's going to do their makeup, and then they see this?
Yeah.
My initial reaction would be like, I don't want her hands near my face. I'm afraid I'm going to get scratched, poked.
You know what? Nobody ever says that, and I've worked on, you know, dealing with CNN, you've worked on everybody, from the girl next door to dignitaries, everybody, rock stars. So no one's ever, like, they'll look at my hand when I'm coming towards them and like, wait a minute, let me see that. Oh my God. They're fascinated. They're not like, you know, they always go, oh, don't hurt me. You know, I don't want to get on your bad side. I said, don't.
Yeah.
You know, act right in this chair. And it's, you know, it's good. But no one's ever been like, you know, they're so afraid that they really don't want me to touch them, because I'm a lefty, so this hand is nude.
Oh,
but
I
still have to come in a lot of times to lift the head or to do this. Like when I'm doing it, I normally do this because I'm applying whatever, you know, the makeup. But no one's ever no one's ever been so scared of it where they're like, I don't want you to touch me. No, they're very fascinated with it. Like, you wear this every day and I can't believe it and blah, blah, blah. And, so it's
Well, now that you're saying you're a lefty, it makes a lot of sense because I've wondered how you use all the brushes and makeup you have to have. You have to be so concise.
Yeah.
And even though there's a lot of blending,
Yeah.
this would get in the way, but now it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's because you're a lefty.
Lefty, yeah.
So really that hand doesn't come close to people.
Yeah, no, it does come close. It does sit on the face. And the jewelry is definitely in your face, but it's not where anything's poking because the flat of my hand is against your head, your forehead. So that there's nothing that's going to poke and cramp and no.
I
Safe.
just think it's great. So how many of these rings do you own?
At least around 15 to 20. And I do interchange them. I wear my jewelry every day, but I do interchange out the rings and some of the bracelets. I have another armlet that comes up to here, and I may wear it with this, and sometimes I don't. It just depends on what I'm feeling. But the right hand is always laden with jewelry. Yeah, that's every day. I feel secure. It's my security blanket.
Well, I've been in Manhattan with you.
Yeah.
And I've walked the streets of New York with you several times.
Mm-hmm.
And I marvel at the reaction you get, but not the reaction like how you respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep on going with your head held high. And obviously...
Because it's positive. It's always positive. Once in a while you get someone who'll look at you strange, like, what the hell? They'll say something about, but that's rare. Most people are like, oh my God, I love your style. It's really cool. It's different. I mostly get, I love your style. So I never run into negativity or something. That's ultra rare. It's and like I said, they never come to me and say anything. They just kind of, you get the crazy look and they're like, oh, okay. But other than that, everybody's fine.
So in all of how many years have you been a makeup artist?
I was 20.
In your 20 years of being a makeup artist, you've always dressed like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you've never had an accident where anything happened, where rings
No
got
poking
tangled.
out eyes.
None of that.
No.
So tell us
tangling
where
in the
you
hair.
get the motivation. Like when you wake up in the morning, because you've been with me for the week, and I've watched you every day come out of the bedroom in a different outfit. And all of them I'm like, wow. I would never think to put those things together that you put together or have the confidence to wear it. So when you wake up in the morning, how do you decide what you're wearing that day?
I just, in my mind, I go through it in my mind real quick because a lot of my pieces I've worn before, and even the ones I haven't worn, I know what goes with what. So it's very quick and very easy for me. So I don't spend an hour, okay, let me put this on, let me lay this out. For me, it's very easy. It's just very quick.
And you layer.
Yeah, I layer. I'm a layer queen. Everyone at work cracks up because even in the summertime, I have 5 different layers on. They're like, what do you have? You have the vest, and then you have the tie, and then you have this shirt underneath that shirt, and then you have the vest, and then you have a jacket. Goddess, it's too much.
Well,
but they like it. It's quirky. They like it, but they're like, how many layers do you? They always crack up. Okay, how many layers do you have on now? And what in the world do you have on today? So,
having spent quite a few summers in New York, how do you cope in the humidity with all those layers, and do you change it in the summertime?
No, because it's light layers. It's light clothing. It may look heavy, like this is very light. This is next to nothing, and this is a very light T-shirt, and then I have a light tank underneath. So it's nothing that where you're so hot you're like dying. It's very, very light. It's light material, so it does not interfere with. I mean, you sweat for anything in New York. You can walk around with tassels in New York and you're sweating to death. The humidity is unbelievable.
Or you're either sweating or you're freezing.
Yeah, you're freezing. Yeah, the sweating or you're freezing. Ugh,
in the winter time, it must be nice because then you can just keep yourself nice and warm. Do you change the texture of the fabrics?
Yeah, of course. In the winter,
okay.
Much heavier. And in the winter, I really don't layer because it's. I'll may put on 2 turtlenecks. And that's because I like to layer underneath my coat or my jacket. Because a lot of times my coats and jackets aren't for warmth.
Right.
They're just not. So I would have to layer like a turtleneck or 2, and then that's it. It's funny because I get more conservative in the wintertime because I can't. You have to just thicker. Everything has to be a thicker layer. So I'll have on 2 turtlenecks and a jacket, or a blazer or something like that. And it was like, what happened to you in the wintertime? Because it's I go crazy with the hats in the winter.
Right.
I have a lot of abstract crazy hats. So and I have like different looking jackets and things and coats. So my outer layers are more wacky, but the what's underneath it is more conservative because it's cold and I'm trying to keep warm. So it's different.
Well, you're beautiful and you're outgoing and you're a
Thank you,
great
Sugar.
friend. Obviously,
baby.
you thought I was special enough to come spend your summer vacation with me. How many people, because you have a lot of impact on people, how many people in your lifetime have you motivated to be gutsy and dress the way they feel like, express themselves the way you do?
I don't know that answer because, somebody will say that I'm going to do that. I'm going to start dressing more, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't mean that they do it or I'm not there to see it. There are two friends of mine that have told me, and I've seen them progress from very conservative to much more abstract and very flowy and very, unique over the years. And they said, it's because of you. When I first met you, I was a good girl. So I corrupted them into being more of an individual, and I've seen that progress. And they're like, yeah, now we're more. It's their style, but they're just not conservative anymore. They're just way to the other left field. So I've seen that progress with them, and they blamed me for. But it's been good, and like certain people will say, oh, I'm a jewelry designer. Let me see your jewelry, and they're inspired by whatever jewelry. People, when they see me, people will pick out the one thing. Like people see the whole outfit, but instantly a human being will hone in on one thing. And that always happens. Like, I love your hat, blah, 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 or I'm a hat maker, or whatever the situation, people hone in on one thing. And they go for that.
Well, I love the collar. I mean, I've loved everything you've worn. I just don't have the courage to put them all on like you do and go out with them.
Yeah.
And so I am very inspired by, and this is why I wanted to do this, because you have to be extremely confident
Yeah.
to be able to do this. Where
Yeah.
does your confidence come from?
I just built up over the years. I've always been artsy. I went to FIT. I did fashion illustration, so I've always loved fashion. And I just, even then, like I said, when I went to college, in high school and college, that's when it really came out because you're with like-minded people like you. So it really comes out even more then.
Thank you.
But I just, hello.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ka-ching. But I would have to say then, but I've always had that confidence. It was just there. It never built up. Not in that area. It's always been there.
So you were one of many makeup artists at CNN.
Mm-hmm.
How many others express themselves like you in terms of dressing? Different.
Well, I mean, no one has my style. Everyone has their own taste and their own style.
Mm-hmm.
I dress like me, so no one has my taste or
Right.
my look. And, they just the way they feel comfortable in. So I'm the only one who looks like this. If
Have
that's
you,
what you
that's exactly what I'm asking.
Okay,
around
I'm the only one who looks
way.
like this, yeah.
Yeah, so have you ever been alienated because of it? Like when you first started there and people didn't know who Goddess was? Did anybody make you feel,
No, I've lucked out in that instance where wherever I've dressed the way I dress, I've never been told you have to calm it down or you can't wear this, you can't wear that. And we're behind the scenes, so it's not like we're in front of camera where you have to tone it down for TV. But I've known certain makeup artists that they were told they couldn't wear this or couldn't dress that way because of the company or the thing that they were doing, the makeup job that they were doing that day. They were told to dress a certain way. But it's rare for makeup people to be told how to dress. It's just rare.
Well, and I think you've picked the right industry because you're very expressive, and even if you never opened your mouth,
What?
someone only has to take a look at you and see your style and how you express yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could have you go up and down and change outfits and come down to share with my viewers some of your looks.
Yeah.
And every day you come out of the bedroom dressed, I look at you and I thought, God, I wish I had half of her confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And you've gone to San Francisco. What was the reaction like to the people in San Francisco?
I've had a lot of all positive. I've had people give me a hug. I love the way you dress, and they'll hug me. I went to a couple stores that they loved whatever they liked on me. Like I said, they honed in on that. There was a certain shop I went to that loved my hat, and they were like, we have to take a picture of the hat. She wants to know the maker, the manufacturer of it, and so she took a picture of that, and she just said, I have to get this hat, So people, like I said, they hone in on one thing.
Yes.
But I've had very good response. They loved it. I haven't had any negativity.
Well, you have the body to wear them too. When you take public transportation, for example, on the plane, when I picked you up in San Francisco, you came in, well, you're always dressed like this, right?
Yeah.
Is there ever a time when you don't get put together like you are now?
No, because my work clothes are my play clothes. They have to, if I go out after work, I'm already dressed. I mean, I can go from morning, noon, and night and never have to go, I have to go home and change into something that's more appropriate or something more dressy or whatever. I come as is. Because I always say, when I leave that house, I'm not coming back home.
Well, wherever you go, you must stick out like a sore thumb because not many people get dressed like you do.
Yeah. So it's different.
It's not like you can go, oh, your shirt is not as nice as my shirt. There's nothing to compare it to.
Nothing to compare it to. You've got.
That's awesome.
It's funny. I'll people have come up to me and they're looking like, no offense, I just don't know what to look at first. Like, I love it. I think it's just very eclectic. I'm trying to hold on, step back, go back a little bit, and let me take a look at the whole outfit. Because what's this and what's it? They have to take a look at things. that happens a lot. Yeah.
So when are you going to start designing some of the things you wear?
Oh God, I'm not a designer. I'm not a designer. I put things together, but I don't invent things. I don't sew and come up with ideas for garments. So no, we don't do that. We wish we did, but we don't.
A lot of what you wear is vintage. Mm-hmm. Is this an unaffordable lifestyle for the average person?
No, it's very affordable. Some things I have are expensive, but most things I have aren't. And vintage, it depends on where you shop. You can go through thrift stores and you go to vintage stores, and it just depends on the level of that vintage store. Some items in that store may be cheap, and some items are an arm and a leg. It depends on what you're looking for. And that's it.
Well, I have to ask this question because I think a lot of my female viewers will be expecting me to ask this question. Does it make it difficult to find dates? Because some of them are so traditional, and they want a girl who looks a certain way at this time, and this way at this time, and another way in the evening time. Yeah. How does this affect your dating life, if at all?
I mean, I don't know how it affects that. I mean, it's rare that I get asked out anyway, so I wouldn't know whether it's because of the clothing or because of the face. I don't know.
You're gorgeous. What are you talking about?
Thank you. But, everyone's level of gorgeous is different. You don't know what they're going to like, what they're not going to like. Like I said, dressing for men, it's a sexier look.
But this is sexy.
I don't dress sexy. I dress eclectic. I dress artsy. I dress different. I don't dress sexy. When you look at me, you don't go, wow, that's hot. No one says that. You'll go, oh, I like what she has on. That's unique. That's different. But nobody says, oh, that's hot. They just don't. So it's not a man magnet. That's what you're asking. I am not a man magnet. Yeah. You have to, I guess, be strong enough or confident enough to come up to me and start talking to me because it is so different. And that is intimidating to a lot of men. They're like, oh, it's different, it's unique, but it's too much for me. They can't take anything over, a T-shirt and a baseball cap. That's them. They can't, anything that they're like, I can't be bothered,
But you have dated.
Yes.
So those are exceptional men that you've dated. I take it. Those are extremely exceptional men.
I don't know if extremely exceptional, but it takes a man with a different taste. That's all. Uh-huh. Yeah, just a different taste.
So what would you want to say to a young girl out there? Or there's so many people in this world who are hiding from who they really are. Either because they're born one sex and they want to be another, or because
religious
purposes, or there's something inside of them just screaming to come out in a way different from what is considered norm. And at the end of the day, what is norm?
Yeah.
But however, society has its little boxes that we've all been groomed to live in.
Yes.
And anytime you step out of the box, you're ridiculed, frowned upon,
that crazy,
isolated, bullied. Mm-hmm. What would you like to say to a young person who, for whatever reason, is afraid to be themselves? either because of dressing differently or because of being differently. What does Leslie want to say to that person, young or old?
I'd have to say you have to have a thick skin, and you definitely have to go within your beliefs. And I don't mean a religious belief or, a spiritual, something that's more of, it has nothing to do with religion or spirituality. Clothing, some clothing does, but if you want to try a certain color, let's start something basic and simple. Oh, I never wear that color because it makes me look, I don't know. Just try that color in something small, like in a scarf or in a shrug type of thing, but a small item. Try that color that you happen to be afraid of or you think you can't pull it off. Try it small. Like a lot of women, you wear red lipstick. You have very strong red lip. A ton of women never wear red because, one, they were told it's too much, it's too bold, and two, that only, excuse me for this one, only whores wear red.
Well, then
This
I
is
want-
old. This is
I've only
not
ever
that my
worn
friends are
red.
whore. I'm just
No.
saying. I'm just saying. I ran into a woman recently who said that. She said, I was taught that only women of ill repute wore red lips, and it was like, wow, and that's such an old way of thinking. She was an older woman, but she wasn't that old, and I was like, wow, she would never try red because this is what was instilled in her.
Leslie, growing up as a little girl, you said at a very young age, you had a desire to dress like you do, to express yourself. You are an artist, dying inside to come out, and you allowed that person to emerge. And I mean, you have years of experience of expressing your art. Tell us about your background.
I went to college for medical illustration, believe it or not. For medical illustration, and then I didn't love that at all, and I transferred from down south, school down south, and I went to FIT, and I took
Okay.
fashion illustration, and I was praying I'd get in. I didn't think that I would get in. I was crying to my mother, I didn't get in, because it was my first time doing a live model.
Yes.
I've never drawn from a live model. I was drawn from the magazine, and I was in shock when they said, okay, draw this model in clothing. I went, oh, it's a major difference. So went home crying. Then I guess a couple of months later they said you were accepted, and I could not believe it.
It was meant to be.
It's meant to be because my portfolio was strong. I was a tight rendered hand. That's how I illustrate.
And during your years in school, you went dressed like this.
Yeah, it was more, well, not like this because it was you didn't have any money. I would say not like this,
Yeah.
but you did it in a more student way. And
Yes.
like I said, you would just go to a lot more thrift stores back then and just make up great outfits. And like I said, it was the club kid era, so we just had a ball doing that.
I know some days I wake up and I feel like dressing a certain way, and I'm one who dresses the way I feel like. Sometimes you try on lots of outfits and they just don't feel right. Then you put that one on and you're like, this is it, and you leave with confidence.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel every day when you walk out your house?
Yeah, my thing is I just go, what can I put on more? What else would what else would make this outfit look better? And I just pile things on more. That's how I think. Like, oh, this is good, but let me put this on. Let's do this, and I'll do that like the last couple of minutes. I'm, oh, I know I could put on, boom, boom, boom. That's what I do. I tend to layer on instead of taking off.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've done Broadway and you're at CNN now. What's next for Leslie?
Ooh, who knows, honey? Who knows?
What's in the dream? What's
The dream is to travel forever and ever. That's the dream. But I would love to do makeup in other countries and just to see how it is over there, whether it's for TV or movies. India has Bollywood. That's huge over there. So I would love to do makeup with that. That would be fascinating.
So when you've gone to the schools that you've gone to, they've trained you, part of your training has to do with makeup for different scenarios, like stage, like television. What about everyday makeup? How is that different from the makeup you do for television?
Well, it's the makeup, the everyday makeup especially for women, other women. It's more commercial, whether you get it at CVS or at a big department store, Sephora. And it's much lighter. you know. And so it's going to be a much not even a softer look, but a lighter application, you know, because it had to, you're at work in business, so you have to look professional. So it has to gear towards that. I can do anything I want on my face, I'm fine. But for the average woman, you have to, you know, within the realm of your job, what your job will allow.
Well, I have to say, over the years of knowing you, I have seen you with lots of fantastic outfits, lots of creative outfits, but your makeup, you're not over the top with makeup at all. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
you wear very natural looking makeup.
Yeah, the my everyday look is lots of mascara and concealer and a sheen on my cheek and lipstick. And I'm a glossaholic. I admit it. I'm a glossaholic. I'll change my lipstick 10 times a day, different colors, not just putting on the same lipstick, because I carry a
Yes.
lot of lip glosses in my bag. So I just feel, oh, you know, I'll do red in the morning, and then, you know, an hour or two later, oh, let me do this pink with tons of sparkles in it, and then, you know, an hour or two later with another color. The lips I change a lot. I just do. And sometimes I'll stick with one color for the whole day. That's rare. That's when I'm lazy. That's when
What
I'm
would you
lazy.
change about your life right now? What would you change about it, if anything?
I would change, like I said, I would do a lot more traveling. I love to travel. I would do a ton of traveling.
Okay.
If I could. That's what I would change
Okay.
off the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that you're an artist and you're expressive and you're not afraid to express yourself and go anywhere. For a little girl at home looking at you who wants to be a designer and her design ideas are kind of like yours, what messages do you have for her?
I would have to say there are certain times in your life where you would have to build a wall around you and not listen to all the outside BS. Little girl, little boy, anyone, you have to build up that confidence. Like I said, we all don't have it. It takes years. For some people, it takes years. Some people will never gain it. I've met women in their 40s and 50s and 60s who still don't have it. And they're like, I just don't, I wish I had that. And they still don't have it. So it takes time. And I would just say you have to really believe in yourself and take chances. You have to take chances, whether that's in jobs or whether that's in wearing a certain eyeshadow. It could be as simple as that, or a certain lipstick. You know, it just, you have to go for it, and don't always be so scared. You know, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. That's what holds people back so much.
Yes, I believe it's one of the biggest demotivators in the world.
Yeah.
I've been guilty of it a few times in my life where I have had an idea, but before I tried it, I talked myself into believing it would fail.
Yeah, yeah.
So I never try. So if you're one of those boys or girls or people watching this interview and you've got ideas for things or
Just do
anything
it.
that you would like to do, even if it's not considered normal, because at the end of the day, in this age and this time, what is normal? Just be true to yourself. And the reason I wanted to share Leslie with all of my friends, one, I love her. She's a great person. Second of all, she definitely gives definition to being true to oneself, because you will never catch her anywhere dressed differently than you see her sitting beside me now. For the time I've known her, she's always dressed herself in whichever way she feels like, which does not fall inside of the box. So thank you for watching the Jennylyn Show, and hopefully this segment will touch your heart if you are someone struggling with who you really are and issues dealing with being accepted. So once again, I thank you for allowing me to share these stories with you, and thank you for watching my show.